What is up, people? So, if you're new to photography, then you must have heard someone, somewhere, somehow, talked about the exposure triangle. So, what is the exposure triangle? The exposure triangle is a basic camera concept that helps you to understand how your camera works. And by extension, it teaches you how to take better looking photos and videos, which is the aim of our videos. The exposure triangle basically controls how much light enters into your camera and by extension, how that light affects the outcome of your images. The exposure triangle refers to the three basic camera settings, which are the ISO, the aperture, and the shutter speed. These three components are in total control of how light enters your camera and ultimately how dark or light your photos look at the end of the day. Understanding the exposure triangle helps you to unlock a new level of creativity that you never knew existed, and it helps you to create the images that you envision. Let's talk about the aperture. Simply put, the aperture refers to the size of the opening on your camera lens. So, the larger the opening, the more light you have entering your camera, and the smaller the opening, the smaller the light that enters into your camera. And the aperture is what you would find represented on your camera by the letter F. And a smaller F number refers to a more blurry background, and a larger F number refers to a less blurry background. What is the shutter speed? First of all, let's understand what shutter is. The shutter is simply a device that opens or closes and allows light that passes into your camera and on the image processing sensors. And shutter speed is simply how fast or slow this mechanism opens and closes. This shutter speed is usually represented by a value of 1 by a certain number, probably 1 over 100, 1 over 160, 1 200. You get it, right? If you make your shutter speed faster, like 1 over 500ths of a second, it means that that shutter device is going to open and close at a fraction of 1 second divided by 500. You can imagine how fast that is, right? So this is usually helpful for freezing motion and is very, very effective in sports photography or any photography that involves fast moving objects or people. You can also use a slower shutter speed, probably by a value of 1 over 60, 1 over 40, or even lower than that, to create nice blurry effects when you're taking your portrait. You just need to explore those things. So let me know how it goes. Finally, let's talk about the ISO. The ISO is simply a measure of the sensitivity of light of your camera sensor. I know this sounds pretty confusing, but it's usually represented as a number of 50 in some cameras, but mostly 100, 200, 400, and so the values keep doubling. The lower the ISO, the darker your pictures, and the less grainy your pictures are. And the higher your ISO, the brighter your pictures are, but the more grainy they become. Understanding these three basic settings gives you total and absolute control over your device whenever you're shooting. So make sure you explore it and let me know how it goes. See you around.